Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into some mind-blowing historical facts that aren't actually facts at all. These are things that everyone seems to believe existed, but in reality, they're complete myths. Get ready to have your view of the past turned upside down. Let's start with a classic. Viking helmets. When you picture a Viking, you probably imagine a big, burly warrior with a horned helmet, right? Well, sorry to burst your bubble, but there is zero archaeological evidence that Vikings ever wore helmets with horns into battle. Not a single one has ever been found. This iconic image was actually popularized by a 19th century opera. In reality, Viking helmets were much more practical, usually simple dome-shaped metal or leather caps, sometimes with a nose guard. The horns would have been incredibly impractical in a fight, easily grabbed or knocked off. Next up, let's talk about the infamous chastity belt. You've probably heard stories about knights locking their wives in these metal contraptions before heading off to the Crusades. It's a powerful and frankly disturbing image. But that's the thing. Historians now widely agree that chastity belts were never a medieval reality. They were mostly a myth that gained traction during the Renaissance and Victorian eras, a time when people looked back at the Middle Ages as a barbaric and unenlightened period. The few examples you see in museums are now considered to be either 19th century fakes or medical devices for different purposes altogether. The idea of a husband locking up his wife was more of a symbolic joke or a cautionary tale than an actual practice. Ever heard the phrase, "let them eat cake"? Famously attributed to Marie Antoinette? It's supposed to show how out of touch she was with the starving peasants of France. The problem is, she almost certainly never said it. The phrase actually appeared in the writings of the philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau, years before Marie Antoinette even came to France. And he attributed it to an unnamed great princess. It seems the quote was later pinned on her by revolutionary propagandists to fuel public anger. It was a classic case of political smear campaigning, and it worked so well that we still believe it hundreds of years later. How about the idea that people in the Middle Ages believed the earth was flat? We often imagine Christopher Columbus as a lone genius, bravely sailing against a common belief that he would fall off the edge of the world, but that's just not true. Almost every educated person in Europe since ancient Greece knew the earth was a sphere. The real debate Columbus had with the scholars of his time was unabouted the shape of the earth, but its size. He dramatically underestimated the Earth's circumference, which is why he thought he could reach Asia by sailing west. The whole flat Earth. Myths was largely invented by 19th century writers who wanted to portray the medieval period as an age of ignorance. Finally, let's tackle the vomitorium. The name sounds pretty graphic, and it has led to the popular belief that wealthy Romans had special rooms where they would go to throw up during lavish feasts, just so they could eat more. It's a disgusting but fascinating idea. However, it's completely false. A vomitorium in an ancient Roman amphitheater was simply a passageway or an entrance. The name comes from the Latin word vomer, which means to spew forth. They called it that because those big corridors let huge crowds rush out of the stadium super fast after an event. Totally not about actual vomiting, right? So there you have it-horned helmets, chastity belts, famous quotes, never spoken, flat earth beliefs, and Roman puke rooms. All things that live vividly in our imagination but not in actual history. It just goes to show how easily myths can become accepted as fact. Which of these surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this trip through historical myths, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. See you next time!